Hello everybody, happy Monday! Welcome to Trackalicious. We've got round 3 of the GT4 rookies coming for you shortly. I am Kuja Terekov, gonna be commentating you along for the ride with these GT4 rookies this evening. Watkins Glen is the track for tonight's race, set in the beautiful rolling hills of the New York countryside. A few hours outside of Buffalo, but that is not a problem for our drivers tonight in the sim, as they get to race from the comfort of their own home around a legendary track such as Watkins Glen. Hope everybody is doing well in the chat. Happy Monday to you all. No better way to start the week than here at Trackalicious, watching some rookies learn their way around the beautiful sim that is Assetto Corsa Competizione. Super fun sim to get into. Watkins Glen, of course, on the American DLC. And so we may be seeing a few drivers with a lack of practice after having to just pick up the DLC. So we'll just have to wait and see exactly what happens when we get out on track. And we have the first qualifying session getting going here. Let's head to the beautiful Watkins Glen. And it's the flip your car over track indeed. Lots of bumps and curbs protecting the apices of the corners. And we'll just have to wait and see if some of our rookies test the fate of gravity. And we might see a car toppled the wrong way. Akane Kalin, winner of the 2 races last week at Spa, looking to carry that good form into round number 3 around Watkins Glen.
Holy smokes!
Welcome, Cali official, to the podium. You've been there for a total of 22 months. Nearly 2 years. Thank you for the continued support from myself and the rest of the Trackalicious crew. Lucas Toronto looks like he is leading the way of those who are on their outlap in the number 19 Porsche. In these GT4s, might be a little bit of time before we see the representative laps, as the GT4s do not have any tire blankets to get the tires up to an appropriate working window. So it may take a few laps for the drivers to get the car up to that operating window, and hopefully Lucas Toronto has done so as he begins his first flying lap attempt after crossing the start-finish line on the main straight. Heading into turn 1, lots of camber helping the driver on the apex, but it's still very tricky and easy to run wide. But Lucas Toronto in the Porsche not doing that, and then it is a blast up the hill through the S's of turns 2, 3, and then 4. And then it is a blast down this back straight before they approach a bus stop chicane called the Inner Loop, braking hard right around the 300 foot board, drifting it through the second part of the bus stop before entering turn number 5 and heading down the chute. Again, lots of camber. They're helping the driver carry a lot of speed through the corner. That is the AMG behind. That's the number 80. And so will we see a valid lap on the board here? Lucas Toronto once again into the tow. Lots of camber helping the driver, and it is very important to keep the speed going all the way through that corner, as there is a bit of a climb uphill to the braking zone at turn number 8, the heel. Lucas Toronto and the Mercedes behind approaching that corner now. Pretty flat here for the Porsche. Not a lot of dramas there on corner exit. And then it is very tricky through turn 9. The camber very much not helping the drivers here as it breaks away through the apex. Very tricky to get the power down, especially in a car where the engine is closer to the back than the front. Although the 718 Cayman here is a mid-engine layout. But nonetheless, very close to the wall goes Lucas Toronto around the final corner. The AMG looks like it ran wide at the second to last corner, and there is a time on the board from Toronto. A 159.4 will be the time to chase for our drivers. Josh Ransom gets ahead in the Ginetta, a 157.320, as the Akane Kalen goes to the top with a 156 dead. Lawrence Thomas going through the chicane now, trying to get through the first or the second sector now as Rally Dutchy comes to the line. Where will the Ginetta go? And it goes up to 7th, about a 10th behind the time set by Lucas Toronto. And Ola Joyegbe goes into second place in the number 13 AMG with Chris Saunderson in third. Then you have Pedro Guerrero in the number 99 in fourth. That moves Josh Ransom down to 5th place. The Camaro of Evan Laranjo, the 314 coming to the line, and it splits Toronto and Caps, goes to 7th place. Joe Kalile goes up to 7th and takes that spot away from Laranjo as Carabete goes to the top of 55.0, nearly a second clear of the number 31 McLaren as Fernando goes through the S's now. The tires hopefully a little more warmed up. Lawrence Thomas goes to 3rd in the 134 BMW. Wes Jones in the 80 sets a valid lap in that AMG, goes to 5th behind the number 13 sister car and ahead of the number 18 Audi. Right now you have the two McLarens of Fernando Carabete and Akane Kalen leading the way from the front row, with the 704, or the 704, excuse me, having a 155.0 on the board. So Chris Caps in 11th now, was as high as 7th if I remember, in the number 17 going to the line, goes into the top 10, improves the time, but needs about another 8/10 if he wants to get past Drew Freiberger in the 419. And there's Sam King with his first valid lap on the board, goes into that top 10 position. Alex Aguirre still not without a valid lap. Same with Dr. Porkchop in the Alpine just in front on the road there. And it is still the same case as these two, after about halfway into the qualifying session, don't have a valid lap on the board yet. So now Beluga in the number 5 Porsche coming to the line with Chris Saunderson behind him. Where will these two go as they get to the start-finish line? Beluga gets a handful of seconds, and Chris Saunderson not able to improve his time on that lap. Sam King in the 333. Nifty Motorsports Janetta looking to get back in the top 10 after getting moved down here to 12th place. Final corner. Now just a blast to the line. Needs about half a second, and he almost gets that. Now just 100th off of the time of Drew Freiberger, who himself is about 100th off of the time set by Josh Ransom in 10th place. Then you have Joe Kalile with a big improvement there, who moves up to 7th from 9th. So now will this be the lap for Aguirre? Pork Chop gets on the board, goes to 15th, as does Aguirre. He goes to 13th. Number 13 of Ola Joyegbe. Oh, gets on the grass. Bit oversteery on the exit, but keeps it under control. As just one corner remaining. Has a good spot in the top 5. Hits the wall on corner exit. Unfortunately there for the AMG to the line. Not able to get an improvement. That will be the lap done for Ola Joyegbe. Aguirre going around once more. Gets a valid lap in 13th. Up ahead, Chris Capps finishing his lap. Gets an improvement on the board, but still needs about 3/10 to improve his position past the AMG of Aguirre. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Brian. It is very, very tight in that mid-pack. And at the front, Kalen gets the time down to within a few tenths, so we might have a battle for pole position here in the last 3.5 minutes. But yeah, Brian, absolutely right. I'm looking at it from Lawrence Thomas in 4th place all the way down to Aguirre in 13th. They are separated by 1 second, and so that is super tight between those 10 cars in that mid-pack. Chris Saunderson in the top 10, but looking to solidify the position even more. Needs about 4/10 to get past Aguirre, who gets a great time. After being in 13th, moves up into the top 10, all the way up to 8th place. And Chris Saunderson gets those 2 places back as he gets to 7th place. Needs about 0.04 of a second to get to the time set by Guerrero. We've got a livery deep dive. I'm assuming that's going to be for Chris Saunderson. So let's take a look at the livery made by Chris in the number 18 real quick here. Gone for the white and green. I love the leaves along the sides. Representing the Canadian flag on the front as well. The Allison Racing, very clean livery. A beaver. As we continue around to the other side, the leaves flowing to the back as the number 18 heads into the toe. We got a good look here at Chris Saunderson's livery. And off to the side he goes, so that will be the qualifying session done for the number 18. Wes Jones moves up to 3rd place. in the number 80 AMG. Dr. Porkchop gets an improvement on the last lap, and that will be the qualifying session done for the Alpine. 17th, the highest that the Doctor will finish. Lots of drivers back in the pits as well. .704 from provisional pole. There's about 40 seconds left on the clock as Fernando comes up to the line. As Kalen gets provisional pole, a 154.657 from the 31. About 4/10 clear of Carabete in the 704. Will there be a response from the 704 as drivers continue to push on with time now ticking off the clock? The checkered flag is waving. This will be the last flying lap attempt for those still out on track. Tenno Kanoko without a valid lap on the board and running wide at turn number 8. Not the qualifying session Kanoko was looking for here in the number 9. The 419 of Drew Freiberger up to the line goes to 3rd place. It's a McLaren 1, 2, and 3. Still a few drivers can shake up the grid order here. Hezzy Thomas to the line in the KTM. We got the Dog Box Racing livery working here. 19th, the highest that the KTM will finish. Now Lucas Toronto had the first valid lap on the board, and 14th will be where the Porsche qualifies. The 704 to the line doesn't get an improvement, so that's Kalen on pole position, followed by Carabete, when Drew Freiberger in 3rd. One driver left on a valid lap. That's Vladimir Beluga in the number 5 Porsche. Needs about a 2-second improvement to get to Dr. Porkchop, and can't quite find the time there. 18th will be where Beluga finishes. What a time set by Akane Kalen at the front, right at the last ditch effort there from the number 31. And so now, up ahead, we have a 20-minute race. Let's get familiar with the starting grid. On pole position, you have Akane Kalen in the Kiri Racing X Spirit Racing number 31 McLaren. Looking to continue on the pace we have seen all season long from that McLaren. Followed behind by the 704 of Fernando Carabete in the KRT McLaren. And Drew Freiberger makes it a McLaren 1, 2, 3 in the Got a Minute Racing 419. Joining him on the second row is Wes Jones of the Baller Squad Racing AMG. In the top 5, you have Lawrence Thomas, the lone BMW on the grid. The 134 has the AMG of Toluwalase Olajoyegbe in the number 13. Then Pedro Guerrero in the Racing Sheeps 99, starting from 7th place. Chris Anderson in 8th in the number 18 Allison Racing Audi. Then you've got Joe Kalile of Kalile Batman Beyond. The number 26 Aston Martin starts from 9th. Rounding out the top 10, you've got Alex Aguirre of Escuderia Elotes, the number 11 AMG. Behind him, starting in 11th, is Evan Loranjo in the 314 V8 Racing Camaro. Sam King behind him in 12th on the 6th row in the nifty Motorsports 333 Ginetta. The Ginetta behind him of Josh Ransom starts from 13th, the 325 TVR. Lucas Toronto starting from 14th in the number 19 Porsche. Then you've got Chris Capps in 15th, the number 17 Aston Martin. Joining him on the 8th row is Rally Dutchy in the Nine-Tail Racing 621 Ginetta. The lone Alpine, driven by Dr. Porkchop, starts from 17th on the grid in the number 71 Chop Shop Racing. Then you've got Vladimir Beluga in 18th of Beluga Racing Team, the number 5 Porsche. Hezzy Thomas represents the lone KTM on the grid in the number 59 Dog Box Racing. Last but not least, Tenno Kanoko. No time on the board from the number 9 Femboy Fitness Racing Porsche. So that's the grid for race number 1. Kalen leads the way. 2 McLarens behind, following closely. Let's hear some predictions in the chat. Who will finish on the front? Will there be one of the other manufacturers being able to upset this McLaren? 1, 2, 3 we have at the front of the grid. The 2 AMGs looking strong in 4th and 5th. That's Wes Jones in the number 80. And Ola Joyegbe in the number 13 in 6th. As they head down the back straight, looking to get the tires nice and warm and ready for the start of the 20-minute race we have ahead. And if that's not enough racing for you, the Rookies is a double header, so we'll have another qualifying session after this race, followed by another 20-minute race. We had a strong showing from the Ginettas last week. Watkins Glen not exactly favoring the right-hand drive British make. Sam King being the highest of the Ginetta drivers. Behind him, Josh Ransom. Then you've got Rally Dutchy in the 621, starting from 16th. Kalen Masterclass incoming. And Hezzy's gonna start from the pits. I love seeing a good-sized grid as well. 20 drivers, 19 starting from the grid. Hezzy Thomas taking the pit lane start. Being a great guy and going to help out his mom. So he gets brownie points on top of any championship points that may be going his way at the end of the evening. Who will be the lead McLaren as we go into turn 1? Not a very long run as the drivers get ready in side-by-side formation. Ten rows of cars lining up, ready to take the race start. Just 2 corners left to get absolutely ready for the start of the race. Mom's more important than a win anyway, that's true. Let's see that last to first challenge, Hezzy, from the pits see if the KTM can challenge these McLarens starting from the front. Will it be Kalen? Will it be Carabete? Can Freiberger get a good start? Can any of the AMGs behind the BMW perhaps? We've seen Shane Sullivan get some rocket starts in the BMW. The green flag waves. The race is going. Kalen with a great start, already covering off Carabete as they go into the braking zone of turn 1. That is super wide in the back there. It looks like Saunderson got pushed a little bit wide as the number 13 slots in behind Lawrence Thomas. Up in front, Wes Jones challenging Drew Freiberger for a podium position. Can the AMG get the straight line speed? It looks like the McLaren has it covered off. Lawrence Thomas also in the BMW looking to have some great speed down the back straight as they go into the bus stop for the first time. It is all single file through there. A couple of cars caught up in an incident. Looks like the number 18, the number 9, and the number 19 getting involved early on there. But it is Kalen leading from Carabete, then Freiberger defending Wes Jones in 4th place here. Lawrence Thomas maintains 5th ahead of Ola Joyegbe in the number 13, but that might change as they exit the toe on the run down to the heel. The AMG has the inside, but the BMW has the straight line speed and has the move covered off before the braking zone. And as the AMG tucks in, now under pressure from Guerrero in the number 99, who's sending a nose down the inside, but a very tricky overtaking opportunity there as they go through turn 9, approaching now the very quick left-hander at turn 10. Got some flashing here on the screen. Hopefully not affecting too many drivers around. Great start from Josh Ransom. He's up to 9th place in the 325 Ginetta and challenging Aguirre for 8th. He's got the inside for turn 1. And now the AMG will have to tuck back in behind and use its straight line speed advantage over the Ginetta and try and get that position back. Further behind, or I guess not really further, right behind, you've got Laranjo defending from Sam King. It's a big Ginetta sandwich going from Ransom to King here. And is Aguirre able to get a good slipstream into the braking zone? He's having a look, but the Ginetta very confident in the brakes. Up in front, a bit of chaos. That was the number 99 cutting the corner at the bus stop and losing the position to Joe Kalile. So the number 26 goes ahead of the number 99 Aston Martin as Josh Ransom goes a little bit deep into turn number 6. Is this the opportunity Aguirre was hoping for? But crucially, the Ginetta has the inside, and it is very tricky to get a move around the outside, and that is exactly why. Contact in front between Sam King and Laranjo as the two Ginettas, or excuse me, as now the Ginetta of Rally Dutchy looking to take advantage of the mishaps happening in front of them. And Rally Dutchy going to the inside. That's Hezzy Thomas staying out of the way of this battle here after rejoining from the pits. Aguirre running wide. And oh no, at the front, we have lost Fernando in the 704. A disconnection from the McLaren unfortunately makes it just a McLaren 1-2. Drew Freiberger all over the tail of Kalen, challenging now for the lead. Wes Jones moves up to 3rd as he has the fastest lap of the race to his name. So after Ola Joyegbe was hoping to apply the pressure to Lawrence Thomas in front, he's now under pressure from the AMG of Joe Kalile, who's looking to get the grip down the inside, but can't quite find it just yet to challenge the AMG for the position. As we ride on board with the Aston Martin, we can see where Joe might be trying to line up a move, but he's just not close enough to the bumper yet of Ola Joyegbe, fighting with the AMG for grip around some of the corners, just drifting it wide. Same with the BMW of Lawrence Thomas in front and out of turn number 9. Kalile gets a good run. And once again, through the corners, the Aston Martin just carries so much more speed than the AMG. But the number 13 in front able to hang on to that final top 5 position, as now going to the inside of turn 1 is Kalile, but he's once again just not close enough to the back of that AMG in the braking zone to make the move stick. Battle here between Sam King and Dr. Porkchop. Lots of damage to the Alpine there. That will move now Sam King up to 13th ahead of the Alpine of Dr. Porkchop. Sam King getting involved in a little bit of contact with Evan Laranjo. Cheers for the hydrate, Xander. Take a sip of tea here. I got green tea today, in case anybody was curious. I'm sure the audience tuned in is so curious about the drink of choice tonight. But nonetheless, cheers, Xander, for that hydrate. Hope everyone's doing well, enjoying the racing so far. Super close anywhere you look between this field. We've got the English Muffin. What's up, man? Hope you're doing well. Funny enough, Shane, it is actually Bigelow tea that's in the cup tonight. And now Ola Joyegbe hoping to get the position past the BMW of Lawrence Thomas. He is not making it easy in the 134. We've got the English Muffin, and now we've got the Milkman following along. Thank you for the follow. Hope you're doing well. Welcome 8 minutes into our 20-minute race here between the rookies. It's very tight between the two German manufacturers, AMG versus BMW. And because Ola Joyegbe got thrown offline, this might benefit the Aston Martin of Joe Kalile, who's trying to get the move on the AMG, but he just doesn't seem to be quite close enough yet to pull the overtake off into the braking zone of the bus stop. It just seems like each one of these cars is strong in a certain part of the track where the others are weak. So that's why we see the AMG gaining on the BMW in certain parts of the track, and then the Aston in turn gains on Ola Joyegbe. Still flashing all over the screen there. Hopefully that's just for us here in the broadcast booth and not for all of those on track with him, as that certainly makes it very difficult to predict where the AMG will be when attacking. And it looks like Kalile is lining up the move here into turn number 8. But once again, the top speed of that AMG, very critical in the defense for that final top 5 position. There's been a change for second place. Wes Jones gets ahead of Drew Freiberg. Let's take a look and see if we can take a glimpse of how it happened. Going into that same corner, turn number 8 here, Wes Jones just goes so deep on the brakes. Drew Freiberger does a great job of avoiding it, But at the same time, Wes Jones kept it on track and gets the overtake done as Drew Freiberger can't get the power down out of the corner. That is a fantastic way to pull that move off Wes Jones. And as they go through the S's, he maintains the position ahead of the 419. And down the back straight they go. That was a great move by Jones as Drew Freiberger goes deep. Maybe just a little bit thrown off from the car being in front of him after riding in a bit of clean air. And now he himself is slowly trying to, or I should say he's trying to avoid falling into the grasp of Lawrence Thomas and Ola Joyegbe here all over the back of the BMW as Thomas goes a little bit deep into turn number 6. But still maintaining the position ahead of the AMG. And yeah, dealing with a flashing car in front of you. Certainly no easy thing to deal with here for Khalil. And being forced onto the grass side by side with the AMG through turn number 9. And that is Khalil. Brave move to get the position on the grass, forced the long way around, but the outside turned into the inside for the AMG. And now Khalil is free to chase the BMW of Lawrence Thomas in front. Great pass, I agree, Brian. Very brave to keep it pinned around the outside there and go onto the grass. Pedro Guerrero here trying to attack Josh Ransom, who is having a great race. Starting from outside the top 10, finds himself in 7th place, but under pressure from the Racing Sheep's number 99 Aston Martin. And from one Aston Martin to another, Khalil now on the back of the BMW for 4th place. Lawrence Thomas can't quite keep the grip out of the toe, but again, the Aston Martin just doesn't have the speed to keep up, but applying the pressure very well, forcing Lawrence Thomas a little bit deep into the few braking zones we've seen here. And we've seen the Aston Martin also get the power down very effectively out of the corners, just has the grip underneath it. And as they go through the final corner, Lawrence Thomas ahead of Joe Khalil, who is ahead of, oh my goodness, Tolu Olase, Ola Joyegbe, and having to defend to the inside from the AMG, looking to go the long way around, but that opportunity is cut off very well by the Aston Martin. And up the hill they go, through the S's. Who will have the advantage when it comes to straight line speed? The BMW up in front, no slipstream benefiting the 134. The Aston Martin tucks in behind, under pressure from the AMG, having to go on the brakes early. Didn't want to force a move down the inside there. And the positions remain the same. 5.5 minutes left in race number 1. That looks like a heavily damaged Tenno Kanoko in the number 9. just in front of these two cars. And this is where the Aston Martin really comes into its own. It just seems to find the grip through the boot, and in this final sector getting very close to the BMW, as it did to the AMG behind. Oh, and the BMW getting a little bit thrown off by the Porsche in front. Khalil looking to take advantage. To the inside they go, and there's contact between the BMW and the Porsche. The number 13 slips through the Aston Martin and takes back 5th place. That's Ola Joyegbe going back, taking advantage of the mishaps in front. So the AMG back into a top 5 position. Lawrence Thomas hanging on to 4th, but that might not be for long, as it looks like there was contact with the AMG forcing its way down the inside, and up the hill they go. BMW having to take the long way around, and the Aston Martin of Khalil creeping into shot, trying to take advantage down the back straight. Who will lead after we exit the bus stop? Thomas out in front, good on the brakes, and the Ginetta of Josh Ransom looking to get involved in the mix here. Can we see a Ginetta slip into the top 5 here? 3.5 minutes to go. Should be about 2 racing laps left. And that's the Aston Martin having a look down the inside. Lawrence Thomas a little bit deep, but that just looks like the line that the BMW is comfortable taking. Now has the inside and swings back to the racing line and exiting the toe. This is where it really seems like the BMW has been struggling. Ola Joyegbe gets ahead. Who will lead into the braking zone? The Aston Martin of Khalil tucks in with the AMG, and those two get ahead of Lawrence Thomas. So after exiting the toe, Lawrence Thomas losing the position, and Khalil slips through to 4th. We've seen it once, we've seen it again. He gets the outside and turns it into the inside, and that is the number 26 Aston Martin ahead of the number 13 AMG. 2 laps remaining. Who will finish in the top 5? Who will finish just outside? Josh Ransom gets through Lawrence Thomas as well. So that's a Ginetta up to 6th. Khalil runs wide, exiting turn 1. The AMG might have a good run up the hill here. Down the back straight they go. Aston leading ahead with some clean air for the first time this race is Joe Khalil. Little bit of scruff marks all around these cars, but hey, Rubbin is racing, and we have seen some absolutely great racing indeed, Xander. If the Aston can hold off up until this section, and it looks like he's allowing the inside opportunity for the number 13. Khalil confident on the grip, but the number 13 has the inside very heavily cambered that corner too. So if you find yourself on the outside, it is very tricky to get the power down and out. But as we've seen it twice before, will it be a third time? Khalil sweeping around the outside of turn number 8, having the inside for 9, and the AMG can't turn into the corner because the Aston Martin is perfectly placed at the apex to maintain 4th place.
Right, man, the leader is on the final lap. Give it a final push.
We haven't had to say the name much, but Akane Kalin on the final lap of the race. Lap number 11. for the number 31 McLaren out in the lead. Wes Jones in second has a good gap over Drew Freiberger, but this is the battle we cannot take our eyes off. Khalil ahead of the AMG, and Josh Ransom looking to get involved in the late stages here. Time ticks to 0. This is now definitely going to be the final lap. The Aston looking pretty confident, leading in front of the two behind as they head into the braking zone of the bus stop. Is what Josh Ransom is seeing up ahead of him. The AMG closing on the Aston Martin in a few corners, but then the Ginetta with its nimble approach to racing, not known for its straight line speed, nearly having a look down the inside there. It looks like the number 13 having to react to that move thrown by the Ginetta as they go into the toe. There's contact, and that sends Khalil the wrong way. Josh Ransom takes advantage and gets up to 4th place. Khalil slips back to 6th. It might even be 7th with Guerrero trying to go deep. He goes a little bit too deep, and now Khalil having to defend around the outside, but he has the grip and has the position back. Kalen takes the race win of race number 1. Wes Jones across the line in second behind, then Drew Freiberger in the McLaren in 3rd place.
Smokes.
Oh my goodness me. Josh Ransom will finish in 4th. Then you have Ola Joyegbe after all of that coming in 5th. Khalil 6th. Guerrero in 7th. Lawrence Thomas, after riding in 4th for the majority of that race, falling back to 7th. Or 8th place, excuse me. Good race for the 314. Evan Laranjo finishing 9th. Sam King gets into the top 10. Chris Capps across the line, 11th, defended from Chris Saunderson to the line there. 2/10 separating 11th and 12th. Alex Aguirre finishing 13th. Rally Dutchy in 14th. Dr. Porkchop 15th place. Yeah, that was some wild stuff at the end there. It was so hard to tell because the number 13 was moving all around as well with the lag on the screen. So it was really hard to tell whether there was contact before Josh Ransom entered the corner or not. So we'll just have to jot that down to a bit of lag. And yeah, just it was so hard to see what happened. It was either happened was there was a bit of lag and the 13 and the 26 collided, and then there was nothing that Ransom could do, or it was the exact opposite and that Ransom kind of forced the incident forward. And so hopefully, well, the good news is nobody lost a great deal of positions there in that battle. So fortunately for all of those involved in the contact, they were still able to finish relatively in the same position that they were. We'll surely leave it down to the stewards to sort all of that good stuff out when it comes to that good stuff. Last but not least, to the line, you've got Vladimir Beluga in the number 5, taking 18th place across the checkered flag. And there goes the Beluga onto its roof. And back on all fours. What a magic trick from the number 5. Yeah, like you guys said, super hard to take your eyes off that battle there. Apologies if we didn't catch a whole lot of others battling around.
Green light,
But just very hard to, very hard to take our eyes off of that 4-car battle going on for 4th place. And here we go into qualifying number 2. Wes Jones out on track first. And cheers to FPS Cody for the sub. Welcome to the podium. 2 months. New member. Hope you are enjoying it so far. Cheering for Akane Kalen. Unfortunately there, we lost Karabete during the race. But Fernando is back. 704, back in the server. He did return towards the end of the race before as well, so did take the checkered flag in the 704, so that's also very good to see. The determination, not giving up, and seeing it out to the checkered flag. Alrighty, still a few number of drivers in the pits, a lot more separated than we were in the first qualifying session. Let's ride on board with the McLaren as Fernando gives us a demonstration of how to go around the 3.5 mile circuit at Watkins Glen International. Turn 1, down a few gears, heavy on the brakes, right around the 200-foot board, and then it is flat out all the way up the hill through the S's. A little bit of understeer and traffic up in front sees Fernando's lap time unfortunately go down there. Up in front of him is Josh Ransom, so let's intercept the Ginetta as he goes to the bus stop, the right-hand drive. Ginetta heavily over the curbs there, but keeps it under control as he now enters turn number 5. Very quick right-hand corner, a little lift or a dab of brakes, depending on the car you're in. Now entering the boot, going to turn 7, the toe. Can brake so late into the corner. There is a lot of banking from the corner, and the natural flow of the circuit sees it rise up the hill. So lots of natural camber helping the braking as he goes into turn 7. Now through turn 8, pretty flat corner, not a lot of elevation changes. Running wide though is the Ginetta, so that will be the lap unfortunately invalidated for Josh Ransom, as Wes Jones gets a time on the board, a 1:55.707, the time to chase down from the drivers behind. Josh Ransom, unfortunately there, running wide, won't get a valid lap on the board. And I think Fernando got a little bit held up there, but his lap still might be valid. And it sure is. About 3 seconds off the pace, but we saw that heavy lift that he had to do going into turn number 3, or out of turn number 3, I should say. And so should see a more representative lap on this go around. The Camaro of Laranjo to the line. Rally Duchy up in second, Hezzy Thomas in 4th. The Camaro goes up to 2nd. And it is immediately eclipsed by Olajoyegbe in the number 13 AMG, about 2/10 off of Wes Jones on provisional pole. Now the pole sitter from last time coming up to the line. Not a valid lap on the board from Kalen on this lap. We'll have to go around once more, but still plenty of time left. Oh, running wide through turn one. Immediately invalidates that qualifying effort. And off to the side of the road, right next to the camera. Hello, Akane. Back to the pits goes the McLaren. I was almost going to say AMG there, but that would be completely wrong. Then Chris Saunderson now coming up to the line. No lap on the board yet from the Audi. Looking to get one here. And goes up to the front row to second place. Wes Jones improving the time at the top to a 55.427 in his number 80 AMG. After the top five, you've got Aguirre in 6th, Dr. Porkchop 7th, Chris Caps in 8th, Rally Dutchy 9th, Carabete in 10th, but looking for an improvement as he was a little bit held up on that last lap. Same with Hezzy Thomas coming up to the line and does get a big jump in lap time. Now needs about 4/10 to get past the time set by Carabete. Lucas Toronto still looking for a valid lap, as is Kalen, Lawrence Thomas, Sam King, Khalil, Guerrero, Kanoko, Freiberger. 8 drivers without a lap time here. But that may well change as Toronto comes to the line and gets into the top 10, goes to 9th place. So can Fernando get the improvement he needs after coming off of a lap where he had to lift to avoid a car? Into the wall he goes on the final corner, losing a few tenths, but nonetheless to the line, goes to the front row. About 4/10 off of Wes Jones. So number 13 AMG behind Laranjo on track, but ahead on the grid. 4th for the AMG, 6th for the Camaro. Will this order change though as they head up to the line? Olajoyegbe goes up to 3rd. Laranjo improves the time, but can't improve the position. Needs another few tenths to get ahead of Josh Ransom, sitting in the top 5 in his 325 Jetta. Khalil gets a time on the board and moves Josh Ransom down to 6th as the 26 Aston Martin gets into the top 5. Aguirre in 8th, looking for an improvement. 5.5 minutes left in the session. Still some time on the board, but it is certainly ticking down, and into the top 5 goes Aguirre. And once again, super tight times all the way up and down the field. And Hezzy's got himself a pit start this race anyway. Just needs to get some laps in and get the feeling. Never a bad idea. I always support some more practice. And Kalen takes provisional pole, a 154.967 from the number 31 McLaren, as Josh Ransom gets ahead of Aguirre and goes up to 6th place. So after Drew Freiberger qualified in 3rd in the last race, 10th is where he finds himself now, but after crossing the line, he goes up to 8th place. Lucas Toronto sitting in 13th, hoping for an improvement, and he gets a few tenths, or a few hundredths I should say, on the time. Needs about half a second to get ahead of Chris Capps on the grid. Lawrence Thomas still in the pits in the 134, perhaps serving a penalty in race number 2. As Sam King, now the lone driver, without a valid lap on the board. Can Sam King find that time on this lap here? Oh, and Garabete improves his time and matches Wes Jones. 2nd and 3rd have identical times on the board. Wes Jones setting his lap first means he gets the grid position out ahead of the 704 McLaren. So now the 333 going through the final corner. Can Sam King get a lap on the board? And if so, how high will it put the Ginetta? And no lap yet. This will be the last attempt for Sam King to do just that in the 333. Dr. Porkchop going through turn 1, gets into 11th, needs a few tenths to get past Laranjo and find himself in the top 10. Found himself a bit down the grid in race number 1, I believe qualified in 17th. This is looking like a big improvement from the Alpine. The Racing Sheep's Aston Martin of Pedro Guerrero. Hoping to get the time here at the end when it matters. A little bit slower on that last lap, but needs to keep it valid here, exiting turn 1 to try and get an improvement as he goes around to see the checkered flag. Drew Freiberger moves up to 5th now in the 419, making it a McLaren 1, 3, and 5. So won't quite be the 1, 2, 3 we saw in race number 1. Wes Jones in the pits, so that will be 2nd, or 2nd I should say, that is the highest. Wes Jones will finish. Khalil goes to 4th in the number 26. So now Pork Chop rounding the final corner in the Alpine, moved down to 12th. Sam King found a time right at the end there, gets to 11th. 12th will be the highest that Dr. Pork Chop can finish. And Carabete looks like not able to find an improvement here on the last lap. Him and Josh Ransom, the last two out on track, and that is the McLaren slowing down and returning to the pits maybe. But oh, Josh Ransom hitting the wall on the exit certainly will slow down the Ginetta, and that is 8th for Josh Ransom there. All right, with race number 2 getting going here in just a couple of minutes, let's remind ourselves of the starting grid for race number 2. It is the same McLaren, the same driver, leading from pole position. It's Akane Kalin in the Kiri Racing X Spirit Racing number 31 McLaren. Joining him on the front row this time will be Wes Jones in the number 80. The Baller Squad Racing AMG starts from 2nd place. Fernando Carabete in the 704 McLaren got an identical lap time to Wes Jones, but he set his after the AMG, so he will start from 3rd place on the grid. Then you've got Joe Kalile in the number 26 Aston Martin. The Kalile Batman Beyond Aston Martin starts from 4th. Starting in the top 5, you've got Drew Freiberger of Mid-Pack Mafia in the Got a Minute Racing 419 McLaren. Joining him on the 3rd row is Toluwalase Olajoyegbe in the number 13 AMG Motorsports. In 7th is Chris Saunderson of Allison Racing in the number 18 Audi. Next, you have the first Ginetta on the grid of Josh Ransom in the 325 TVR. In 9th, Alex Aguirre starts in his number 11 Escuderia Elotes AMG. Rounding out the top 10 on home soil is the 314 Camaro of Evan Laranjo. Sam King next behind him in the 333 Ginetta, able to get that lap in right at the last second in the nifty Motorsports livery. Dr. Pork Chop behind him on the 6th row in the Chop Shop Racing number 71 Alpine. Chris Capps starts from 13th in the number 17 Aston Martin. Joining him on the 7th row will be Lucas Toronto in the number 19 Porsche. Pedro Guerrero starts from 15th in the number 99 Racing Sheep's Aston Martin. Next, you have Rally Dutchy in the 621 Nine Tails Racing Ginetta. Next on the grid, Tenno Kanoko in the number 9 Femboy Fitness Racing Porsche. Lawrence Thomas on the grid, but not sure if he knows the formation lap has started in the 134 BMW Motorsports. Last but not least, Hezzy Thomas starts from the pits in the number 59 Dog Box Racing KTM. So that's the starting grid. Formation lap underway as they get to the top of the hill after the S's. And so let's hear some of your predictions. Will it be Kalen out in front again? Will it be Wes Jones in second? Who will join the McLarens on the podium? Can Kyle in the number 26 after starting in fourth here? Good battles all throughout the top 10 in the last race. Will we see the same here? Lawrence joining Hezzy Thomas in the pits. So it is an all Thomas pit lane start. And so now, with the grid going through the boot, getting any last minute tire warm-ups. How high will the Ginetta of Josh Ransom finish this race? Got a great finish in the last race. But as we saw, little bit of lag, so can't exactly pinpoint what happened there. Hopefully we'll avoid that same fate here in race number 2. Zipper formation, 2 corners left before we will see the green flag release. Our 17 cars on the grid and 2 from the pits for race number 2. Fans are packed in the background there, ready to watch these GT4 rookies battle it out once more around the 3.5 mile Watkins Glen International Circuit. Bold prediction from Brian there. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Green flag waves, race 2 underway. Chris Saunderson gets a great start in the number 18 Audi, side-by-side contact with Kyle. Sees him go the wrong way. The 704 gets through Wes Jones. And so now Kanabete trying to chase down Akane Kalen for the lead. Saunderson involved with some contact with Joe Kyle at turn 1. Rally Dutchie looking like got involved in the mix there, unfortunately, as well. And so, oh my goodness me there. Yes, yellow flags indeed. That was a brave move down the inside. And Brian with the curse this time, not me. Not me, not me. Josh Ransom up into a top 5 position now. So now Olajo Yegbe up to 4th place, chasing down Wes Jones in front. Sam King and Dr. Porkchop both getting great starts in the 333 Ginetta and the Alpine, both of them up to 7th and 8th place respectively. Welcome to the club, Brian. Now you know how it feels to speak something. Oh, and that's Drew Freiberger hitting the wall on the exit of turn number 9. Sam King and Dr. Porkchop side by side. The 2 light blue cars, a little bit of contact, but it looks like Dr. Porkchop had the move before that contact was made, but Sam King not giving it up easy. He's going to fight it back into turn 1 unless Drew Freiberger is going to box him in, and he is doing just so. Avoids the contact with the Alpine, but in doing so allows Sam King the opportunity to fight back down the inside of turn 1, and the Ginetta now ahead of the McLaren once more needs to try and use the slipstream of the Alpine to try and stay ahead of Drew Freiberger, pushing hard behind. And he is really pushing hard down the inside of the bus stop. That's the AMG of Aguirre trying to take advantage as well, but not able to do so. So Sam King falling back to 9th. Drew Freiberger falling back from the start a little bit, back to 9th place, or 8th place now, excuse me, trying to take advantage of Dr. Porkchop in front in the Alpine, but can't quite do that. The Alpine very nimble through the twists and turns through the back half of the lap, and that is a bit of a late lunge from Drew Freiberger down the inside of Dr. Porkchop, coming off the worst for wear. There is the McLaren, and Dr. Porkchop now having to fight with Lucas Toronto and Pedro Guerrero, has the inside for turn number 8 and keeps the position ahead of the Porsche. And the two McLarens very close out on track. Kalen having to defend and break the slipstream from the 704 behind. So can Fernando throw up a challenge here in the first 5 minutes? Already trying to force a side-by-side move up the S's. But Kalen is having none of it as they go down the back straight. Evenly matched machinery here. Kalen defending to the inside, forcing Carabete the long way around, and no room there for the chasing McLaren to get the position. So with this two-car battle for the lead behind, Ola Joyegbe looking in front at Wes Jones for a potential podium position here in this equally matched machinery battle between the number 13 and the number 18 AMGs. Behind these two, you have Chris Saunderson and Josh Ransom, who rounds out the top 5 in the 325 Ginetta. Chris Saunderson chasing him, hoping to get that top 5 position after he sent a bit of a late move to the inside, which saw Joe Kalile facing the wrong direction. Retro Vex, welcome Raiders. Hope you guys had a good stream. You tuned in at a good moment. We've got 14 minutes left in race number 2 of round 3 of the GT4 Rookies series here at Trackalicious. Welcome in Retrovex and Raiders. Hope you guys are doing well on your Monday night, Tuesday morning, wherever you may be joining us from. Happy to have you here watching some ACC action. Two McLarens for the lead. It's Akane Kalen from Fernando Carabete, as the two equally matched cars continuing to go around the same way as they did the previous lap. Kalen leading the way from Carabete. But can Wes Jones catch up to the two battling McLarens? 2.5 seconds back. Still very doable, and then he has a pretty good 2-second lead over Olajo Yegbe in their battle for third. Josh Ransom and Chris Saunderson, though, closing in to the 13 AMG. You've got Sam King advancing up to 7th after he started outside the top 10. A drift from Kalen exiting turn number 10, or 9, excuse me. But Carabete can't take advantage and get close enough to Kalen to throw a challenge into these braking zones just yet. After the contact earlier, Dr. Porkchop looking to make up ground, now behind Alex Aguirre, who hits the wall, exiting turn number 11, slowing down the pace of the AMG as they approach turn 1, can barely see the Alpine behind the AMG as he tucks down the inside and gets the position ahead of Aguirre and moves into the top 10. The Racing Sheep's car of Pedro Guerrero trying to get involved in the mix as well, as Aguirre a little bit offline through the bus stop might allow the number 99 a place through. Oh no, and there's contact. Aguirre does a 360. Guerrero goes into the wall, and out in front of that kerfuffle, you've got Drew Freiberger trying to get the position past Lucas Toronto, who drifts it on corner exit but keeps the car under control. And now there's contact between him and Chris Capps. It has all unfolded here outside of the top 10. Chris Capps with the contact with Lucas Toronto. Sees him now under pressure from Pedro Guerrero, who had the contact a few corners prior with Alex Aguirre, who sits just in front of him a few places. And with all of that, Joe Kalile getting thrown out of position from the opening lap, looking to battle back here with half of the race remaining. Joe Kalile running out of time to make up these places. Thanks for the follow. Hope you're having a good evening and enjoying what the rookies are offering here this evening. A bit of contact we have seen. We've also seen some great side-by-side racing all throughout, inside and out of the top 10. And another follow. Thank you, Track Fiends. Hope you are also having a good evening, my friend. Enjoying the ACC action here at Trackalicious. Join us again on Wednesday for some multi-class action between the GT3s and the GT4s as they go into their third round this week, coming up in a few days' time. Two Aston Martins continuing to battle. Guerrero not giving up the position easily to Kalile, still hanging on to the back of the 26. As with the back of Kalen's McLaren is seeing the 704 getting close, but not quite close enough to pull off a move here. Kalen just needs to drive it consistently all the way home and close out yet another win here in the Rookies Championship. And if you want to see yourself on this grid or any other Trackalicious grid, !SimGrid will take you to a link to get signed up for this championship and anything else that Trackalicious has to offer, whether it be iRacing LMU or a 6-hour and 66-minute endurance race. Perhaps. Might be to your liking. So all that good stuff over on SimGrid. If you want to get signed up for these championships and see yourself out on track in these streams. Welcome, Vitix Martinez. Thank you for the follow. Chris Saunderson chasing a top 5 position. Josh Ransom holding it down, though, in the 325 Ginetta. Oh, welcome, my friend, from the Dominican Republic. That's awesome. Got a pretty good international squad here at Trackalicious. So now the battle commences once again between the 419 and the 71 Alpine of Dr. Porkchop, up ahead of Drew Freiberger here. These two came into contact earlier at the toe, turn number 7, and the Alpine defending hard to the inside of the bus stop, and not making it easy for Drew Freiberger to get that position. And down the inside of turn 6, the McLaren covers off the inside for any switchback opportunity. Oh my goodness, hello from Jamaica. Hello, hello, hope you're enjoying the racing. That's true, Brian. That is very true. One of your predictions may yet come true. 3 laps remain for Carabete to try and get the position past the dominant Akane Kalen. Welcome, Boosted. Hope you're doing well. Keep those new followers coming. Welcome, all of the new followers. Hope you guys are enjoying your first time here. And we certainly hope to see you back for many more events in the future. Just outside the top 10, Chris Capps in 13th, trying to get 12th, ahead of Alex Aguirre, as they head down the back straight after going through the S's, the AMG covering the inside line. Camaro in the top 10 indeed. And yeah, hope you're doing well after Melissa. Yeah, certainly hoping for all the best to those affected by that Hurricane. So hopefully we can lift your spirits here a little bit here in round number 3. And now Chris Capps falling under pressure to Joe Kalile. Qualified in 4th, had an incident at turn 1, but recovering well here, looking to get up maybe even as high as 12th if he can clear both the Aston Martin and the AMG in front. And Capps going to the inside of Aguirre. Fantastic opportunity taken by the number 17 Aston Martin, getting ahead of the AMG. Now has the Ginetta in front of Josh Ransom. No, Josh Ransom's fallen back. He was in the top 5. Oh, and lots of damage to the Ginetta, and even more to Alex Aguirre, hitting the concrete barriers on the inside of the bus stop. The contact with Chris Capps just sent him the wrong way, and that's the Ginetta on the grass. And it is all coming undone here in the last few minutes of the race.
Final lap now.
You heard it there from the race director. Leader is on the final lap. That's Akane Kalin defending from Fernando Carabete all race long, and now just has 3.5 miles to defend. Now a little bit less after going through turn 1, 2, now clearing turn 3. Up the hill they go and down the back straight for the final time. It doesn't look like the 704 is going to be close enough to challenge Kalin into the braking zone of the bus stop. Great battle between these two McLarens, but Carabete just not able to get close enough to Kalin to challenge, to go side by side even into any of the corners we've seen yet. But still, one sector left for Kalin to defend and take a second win in tonight's round number 3. Defending well into the heel, and now up they go to turn 9, a slight uphill off cambered corner. But Kalin has mastered it all race long. Just one more time to go. Now a quick left-hander and one more right-hand braking zone separates Kalin from the checkered flag, and Carabete just isn't close enough to challenge. And so that means Kalin will finish out in front for a second time this evening, make it 2 for 2 in wins, with Fernando Carabete very, very close behind, challenging all race long. Congrats to P1 and P2. Wes Jones takes 3rd in the number 80 AMG. That's Olajo Yegbe. Fun, always fun to say. And the number 13 AMG taking 4th. Chris Saunderson gets in the top 5 in the number 18 Audi. And Sam King in 6th. Great race after starting outside the top 10 from the 333 Ginetta. Evan Laranjo so close with the 419, but he hangs on to 7th by 0.05 of a second. Drew Freiberger finishing 8th. Then Dr. Porkchop in the top 10 in 9th place. Lawrence Thomas with the pit lane start, but finishing in the top 10. Joe Kalal gets the position at the end from Chris Caps. He finishes in 11th. Chris Caps in 12th. Third Aston Martin in a row there. That's Pedro Guerrero in 13th place. Hezzy Thomas, one corner left for the KTM before he sees the checkered flag in 14th place. Is this race multi-platform? No, I believe this is just PC only. And then Lucas Torano there in the background, struggling to keep the Porsche pointed in a straight line, but he will take the checkered flag in 14th. Or 15th, excuse me. Josh Ransom, the last driver out on track. Alex Aguirre in 17th or 11th. Yes, 17th, maybe. We'll have to wait and see what the final standings say once Josh Ransom goes through the checkered flag. And as always, we would love to invite our podium sitters from race 1 and 2 to join us in the green room for a quick chat of how your guys' race went this evening. Connie Kalen and Drew Freiberger know the drill. They are in the green room waiting. The green room. It's where everything's green. So there's Josh Ransom taking the checkered flag, and that is the race completed. We'll wait for it to be completely official as we see, or when we see those final standings appear. On the left-hand side, Hezzy Thomas doing donuts in the KTM there at the exit of turn 1. Oh yeah, we're gonna be broadcasting it here. They just have to join the green room, and then I have to pull them into the main broadcasting room, so we don't have a lot of weird people joining in and out here and there. I think that was Tenno Kanoko that had to serve a pit stop. So I don't think we're technically done. Because I think the number 9 Porsche still needs to complete this here lap. And there's the checkered flag officially. All right. And so, we've got Kalen. Gonna pull in. Akane Kalen. Welcome, Akane. Congrats on the 2 wins here this evening.
Wow, it was so stressful, the second race. So ridiculously stressful.
Oh, I'm sure it was. You had Fernando on your tail that entire time.
It was start to finish, the same thing over and over. I was gapping him in sector 2 and sector 3, and he just came back in sector 1.
Yeah, that's just what happens. It seemed like you two were pretty evenly matched there in both the McLarens there. But yeah, you were just ahead on track and had that position, didn't let him get close, and kind of that was that in race number 2.
Yeah, he was faster than me, actually, in pace. But I just defended well enough to the point where the tire degradation started kicking in for both of us in the McLaren, and I just handled it better. I am pretty sure it's because I was running higher wing settings than him.
Yeah, it could be. That's also a matter of the setup, too, between the two cars. One could be running low, one could be running high. Welcome, Drew. How are you doing this evening?
Hey, great to see you, Kuja. It was definitely a great first race and a harrowing second.
Yeah, we saw a bit of contact there with the Alpine, but a good recovery nonetheless in race 2. But let's talk about race 1. How did that go for you? It just seemed like you were held on to second and just that was kind of it.
Yeah, actually, I ended up holding on to second for quite a bit after our actual second place guy. I think that was I forget his name. Glad he was able to rejoin for the second race. Glitched out, holding it off, and then I saw Wes Jones in my rearview mirror, and I know this is his home track, and I wasn't going to be able to hold him off with my tire degradation hitting halfway through the race. So I was happy to finish right behind him. But it was definitely fun. Watkins Glen is certainly one of my favorite tracks.
Yeah, it's a fun track for racing too. We saw a lot of action. Just super close racing all around, but no one able to challenge Akane at the front there, and it seemed like you weren't able to get a whole lot of practice time in based on all the chat I was reading from you.
I bought the DLC last night, and I
Nice.
started practicing today at like 4 p.m.
Legend.
There you go. Well, that's how it's done. Buy the game,
No,
practice for a few hours.
I thought I was gonna be quite a lot at the back. I didn't have a lot of faith in like learning the track. I was running 57s until like the last hour or so.
Yeah, once it clicks, it's great.
Yeah.
You were mentioning the setup differences. Akane and I were chatting before you dragged us into the chat that he was running a very low wing and I was running a very high wing. We figured that was probably what was keeping us separated.
Yeah, that's just usually what happens. You would think that just the two cars are so similar, but just how much setup changes you can do to the car really affects how one drives compared to another. And so, yeah, just pointing it out right there. The two cars, identical, it seems like, just from the outside, but those tiny little setup changes just makes the world of a difference when it comes down to the lap time.
And it's crazy just how, like, the fraction of a second of earlier or later braking or gas application, too, it really comes down to skill at the front of these packs.
Yeah, true.
But I'm also glad to just be out here with all these rookies who are getting a taste of this door-to-door action on GT4s.
Yeah, the GT4s too, not a common choice in all the sims, so they are certainly fun to drive. They just offer a lot of opportunity to go side by side, and it's super fun to watch you guys race here tonight, as well as on Wednesdays too in that multi-class. If you guys are participating in that or not, I don't know, but yeah, super fun to watch you guys here in the rookies grow and develop, learn the game, learn how the cars grip, and hopefully we'll see you guys promoted out of the rookies and join us for the Wednesday series. But for now, good luck in the remaining rounds that are left here. Almost halfway there, so looking forward to seeing what you guys do in the remaining half.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Alrighty, that's our podium sitters. Chris, I see you in the green room, but we have the interviews for the podium sitters. Maybe at the end of the year, we can do something special and just have a big interview with everyone. But still, thank you for joining. And yeah, that is going to conclude round number 3 at Watkins Glen for the rookies this evening. Thank you to all of the new followers this evening, all of the chatters joining us, keeping us entertained throughout the race, everybody racing along as well. We couldn't do it without you guys here on Mondays, putting up the action for us all to watch. Thanks to all the admins as well, doing all of the hard work in the background, getting the series set up, and all of the stewarding, putting in all of the SimGrid data. I know there's a lot that goes on. I just do the fun stuff and get to show it to all you guys. And so once again, yeah, thank you guys as always for joining us this evening. we are going to give a raid over to some iRacing folks. We've got Race Affinity Plus. They are hosting their own race in iRacing, the oval variety though. So give them some love from one sim racing community to another. Tell them Trackalicious sent you. Hope you guys have a good rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, or night, wherever you may be joining us from. Thank you. Stay safe out there, and we will catch you all next time.